And then he made me cry when he said, I can't even say it. Mr. Grease said, don't you love me?
Remember that.
To understand why this specific relationship carries so much weight that it actually breaks the actors who played it, you have to look past the mafia politics. This isn't just a story about two mob bosses. It's a story about a nephew and an uncle who can only talk to each other through leverage, and it starts right out the gate, not with a gun, but with a guilt trip.
You may run North Jersey, but you don't run your Uncle Junior. Motherfucker! How many fucking hours did I spend playing catch with you?
Out of all the things a hardened mafia boss could say when he's backed into a corner, why the hell would he bring up playing catch? It sounds completely out of place. But there is a very specific reason I chose to highlight this line, and I'll talk about it more a little later in the video. But right now, in Season 1, it's just leverage. You have two hardened mobsters squaring off over a turf war, and Junior's big defense is to bring up playing catch. Part of it is just pure stubborn ego. Junior is looking at his nephew thinking, I taught you how to throw a baseball, and you really think you can come in here and tell me what to do? But it's also a highly calculated manipulation. Johnny Boy was Tony's dad, but he was a gangster first. He didn't make time for the kid stuff. Junior was the one who actually showed up. So right in the middle of a shakedown, Junior deliberately weaponizes that childhood memory to guilt Tony into backing off. Tony eats the guilt trip, but he learns the game fast. A few episodes later, the boss of the family, Jackie, dies. Junior is ready to go to war for the empty chair, right as the FBI starts handing out major indictments. Tony knows sitting at the head of the table just puts a bullseye on his back. He needs to kill a civil war and build himself a lightning rod at the same time. He needs a front boss, so he sets Junior up to take the fall. Tony pulls up to the sit-tight diner to make the pitch. He walks through the door with his hands up, instantly feeding the old man's ego.
I came in heavy, like you said, but I don't want to use it.
He is surrendering before he even sits down. He plays the loyal nephew perfectly. He tells Junior that Jackie is gone, the family needs a leader, and he wants it to be him. Junior's face completely softens. He stands up to hug his nephew, feeling like he just won a 30-year marathon. Then Tony pulls the exact string he came to pull. Right in the middle of the embrace, he leans into Junior's ear and whispers,
Bloomfield and the paving union. It's my asking price.
On paper, Tony is kissing the ring. But on the street, that is highway robbery. Bloomfield and the paving unions are massive earners. A clear-headed guy would never hand over his best territory just to wear the hat. But Junior is so drunk on the vanity of finally being called boss that he gives it up without a second thought. Tony just bought himself a human shield for the feds, and somehow got the shield to pay for the privilege. A few days later at the cemetery, you see the punchline of the whole move. Junior is sitting in the front row, wearing the hat, looking like a king. Meanwhile, Tony is standing 50 feet away on the grass with his captains, laying out the real rules of engagement.
He's content. Thinks he's the king of kings. Truth is, every decision is made by me.
Junior is completely blind to the fact that his own blood just turned him into a target. For years, they play out this miserable routine. Tony runs the streets, while Junior sits under federal house arrest, rotting in his living room. He watches his actual power slip away while keeping the FBI target glued to his back. By the time Season 5 hits, Junior knows he's just a mascot. The resentment has boiled over, but worse than that, his mind is starting to go. It all comes to a head at one Sunday dinner. Early in the day, Junior drops the line,
Your father never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
It isn't some calculated mob move. His filter is just failing. His brain is misfiring, getting stuck on a 30-year-old resentment. But Tony doesn't just brush it off. He gets immediately defensive.
What the hell's with you? I led it in football.
If you look at Tony's face right there, you can see his brain short-circuiting. He is juggling two completely different things. On the surface, he is genuinely offended that his uncle is cutting down his high school sports record. But underneath that anger, there is pure dread. Tony isn't stupid. He can see the dementia setting in. He knows Junior is slipping, and it terrifies him. But facing the reality that his surrogate father's brain is melting is too painful. So Tony chooses the easier emotion, anger. He gives Junior a dead serious warning to drop it, convincing himself it was just a cheap shot.
It's undermining. And it's the kind of stuff I'm teaching my kids not to do. So I don't want to hear it again. End of subject.
But then the rest of the family arrives. Tony's younger sister Barbara and her husband Tom walk in. The table fills up, And Junior, whose brain is literally getting stuck on a loop, repeats the exact same insult, this time in front of a full audience.
You never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Oh, son of a bitch! Did I just tell you not to say that again?
The most dangerous man in New Jersey just got reduced to a sulking teenager. The real tragedy here is Tony's reaction. Tony is so conditioned to 20 years of psychological warfare with his uncle that he literally cannot separate Junior the mobster from Junior the patient. To Tony, Junior deliberately waited for the extended family to arrive just to publicly castrate him. Tony treats a textbook symptom of a failing brain like a direct, calculated threat to his status as boss. It cuts so deep because it proves his whole alpha male routine is just a shield. Underneath the cigars and the power suits, he is still just little Anthony, desperately waiting for his uncle to respect him. And whether it's out of spite or a melting brain, Junior manages to deny him that satisfaction every single time. You can only sustain that kind of psychological warfare for so long before the armor completely breaks. And it finally happens right in Junior's living room. To really understand the weight of this scene, you have to look at their history. Junior wasn't just an uncle. Tony spent his entire life seeking Junior's approval. When Junior ordered that hit in season 1, it didn't just make Tony angry, it broke his heart. If literally anyone else had pulled that, they'd be dead the next day. But Tony lets him live. He pays his bills, handles his lawyers, and takes his abuse for the rest of the show. He does it because cutting Junior off completely means admitting that his only real father figure didn't love him. By keeping the old man around, Tony is still just trying to earn the fatherly approval he never got. Junior is glued to the couch, trying to lose himself in a nature show. Tony tries to talk to him about his doctor, but Junior slips up. He forgets who Dr. Kennedy is and then gets defensive trying to cover it up.
Your cancer doctor.
I knew that. You said doctor.
Tony sees right through it. He knows his uncle's mind is failing, so he tells Junior to take his medicine to help with his memory.
Just take your medicine, Uncle Joe. Make you feel better. Help with your memory.
And Junior gives him a brutally honest answer.
Believe me, there's plenty I'd like to forget.
Yeah, you and me both.
For a few seconds, they both just drop the act. Junior is basically admitting that remembering his life is a burden. When he is lucid, he remembers the hits, the betrayals, and the fact that he ended up alone. In a sad way, the dementia is almost a relief. And Tony agreeing with him is huge. Tony spent 6 years in therapy trying to fix his brain, but right here, he admits he'd rather just forget it all. They are just two tired guys sitting in a room, quietly agreeing that the life they chose isn't worth remembering. It's a rare moment of connection. But Tony can't just leave it there. He pushes Junior into a corner, demanding to know why he only repeats the things that tear him down.
The varsity shit. Let's assume that you didn't know what you were saying, that you forget what you say shit over and over. Why's it gotta be something mean?
Tony is forcing his uncle to face his own bitterness, pointing out that even in his final days, Junior is still pushing away the only person checking in on him. Junior tries to deflect. He points at the screen.
There's the coyote.
It is a desperate attempt to hide. Sitting on that couch, he is having a terrifyingly lucid moment where reality is crashing down on him. He realizes he never married, he never had kids, he is being prosecuted by the government, and in the end, it's all just a big nothing. More than anything, he is acutely aware that he is deteriorating, and he is deeply ashamed of it. But Tony doesn't let him hide. He drops every layer of his mob armor until there is nothing left but a broken kid.
I mean, don't you love me?
Junior is crying because he does love Tony very much. And hearing Tony ask that question makes him realize exactly how much Tony loves him back. But he can't say it. Even if he wasn't in the grip of dementia, Junior wouldn't have the capacity to fix the rift between them. The silence goes both ways. Junior looks away, completely paralyzed. He understands the question perfectly, and the tears prove that he loves his nephew. But a lifetime steeped in the Mafia code has physically broken his ability to say it out loud. Saying yes means surrendering his pride, so he chokes it down. As the silence stretches on, you see the exact moment Tony gets it. He gets his answer. He knows Junior loves him. But he also realizes, sitting right there on that couch, that Junior will take that love to the grave rather than just say it. When Tony walks into that state facility for the last time, he doesn't actually know his uncle is gone. In Tony's world, guys fake being sick to beat federal cases all the time. So Tony sits down, still wired for the street, looking for the hustle. He tests the waters.
Well, you don't recognize me?
We used to play catch.
At the very end of season 1, Tony gives a toast to his family. He says,
Someday soon, you're gonna have families of your own. And if you're lucky, You remember the little moments that were good.
When you look at Junior in this scene, that quote becomes a tragic prophecy in the show. Out of an entire lifetime of crime, violence, and betrayal, the only thing that survived the decay of his mind was a single, pure memory of playing catch with his nephew. He remembered the little moments. But Tony is still too wired to the street to see the tragedy sitting right in front of him.
But enough with the fucking birds. I'm Anthony.
He thinks it's an act, so he ignores the memory and pushes forward, trying to locate Junior's hidden stash of money using Bobby's kids as an excuse.
You remember Bobby?
Sure.
I want you to know I appreciate you taking care of my uncle.
Yeah, I know. He really loves you, you know that?
Come on, little prick.
I'm serious. He talks about you all the time. I know you had your problems, but I don't know. I wish he was my uncle sometimes.
That blank stare is where reality finally crushes Tony. Bobby wasn't just a soldier. He was a surrogate son who genuinely loved him. When Junior can't even remember Bobby's name, the street suspicion completely drains out of Tony's face. He finally understands. This isn't a hustle. The old man is permanently gone. Desperate to salvage anything, Tony abandons the money and goes straight for the legacy. He practically begs Junior to remember that they were kings, that they were family, that their lives actually meant something.
You remember Johnny? Your kid brother? This thing of ours.
This thing of ours. In 6 seasons, Tony almost never explicitly acknowledges the mafia out loud, especially not in a state facility that could be bugged. But in this exact moment, Tony is so desperate to wake his uncle up that he breaks the ultimate street rule. But it doesn't work. Junior answers him the way you'd answer a polite stranger at a bus stop.
I was involved with that?
You're my dad. You two ran North Jersey.
We did? Well, that's nice.
He has zero concept of the blood, the betrayal, or the empire. Watching the change in Tony's demeanor here is brutal. Tony tears up and walks away. And this is where the entire series finally lands. For 6 seasons, Tony Soprano tries to justify the monster he is. He blames his mother's abuse. He hides behind the rules of being a soldier, only to watch everyone he loves die in a completely pointless mob war. He swears he does it all for his kids, but we watch AJ spiral into a suicide attempt, and we see Tony pull Meadow away from a respectable medical career just so she can defend mobsters. By the time Tony walks out of that facility, all the bullshit, all the excuses, and all the justifications have been stripped away and proven to be lies. Tony has to face that in the end. It was all for himself. A selfish desire to possess, control, and destroy. He won the war, he survived, but the victory is entirely hollow. The final nail in the coffin is seeing Uncle Junior. A grim reminder that in the end, this life strips away everything, even who you are. Tony gets to wear the crown, but the one man whose respect he spent his whole life fighting for doesn't even know his name. Tony finally won the game, only to realize he never had the makings of a varsity athlete.